Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CVHP News. I'm Sonora Scott. It's Thursday, February 6th. Now, we've been feeling pretty chilly across the Concho Valley, but this weather may have more of an impact for those with heart problems. Armando Lozano explains.
The exposure to the cold may worsen their heart condition.
According to doctors, when temperatures drop, heart problems rise. Individuals with heart conditions such as coronary artery disease and congestive heart failure should stay out of the cold.
Exposure to a cold may cause ischemia to the heart, and this will cause angina.
Ischemia is a restriction in blood supply to the heart. A sudden, severe blockage of one of the heart's artery can lead to pain and even a heart attack.
Exposure to cold causes spasm of the arteries of the heart and increases the demands of the heart for blood flow. So these patients have high risk to get chest pain and shortness of breath with exposure to the cold.
Dr. Leon says those with heart conditions should also avoid strenuous activity while out in the cold.
That will increase the need for blood flow to the heart, and since they have heart disease, that will definitely deteriorate their condition. In other states, as you know, people did experience heart attacks while they were shoveling, trying to clear the driveways. I mean, here we don't have that much, but it is true.
For News Connection, I'm Amanda Lozano.
Thanks, Amanda. Good information there. And algae is what our Victor Glenn is discussing in his segment called Our Water.
Over the past few months, a noticeable golden algae bloom has struck E.V. Spence Reservoir, causing a minor fish kill. This may in turn impact those wishing to fish or otherwise enjoy E.V. Spence.
You know, for many years, probably decades, we've seen various golden algae in Spence and some of the other area lakes around San Angelo, mainly east of I-35 in the more salty, brackish waters. Spence has, through the years, noted some significant fish kills. But in talk with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department over the last couple of months, there have been some golden algae that has been growing in Spence.
While the recent fish kill and algae bloom may be minor, Texas Parks and Wildlife staff are closely monitoring the situation, hoping for warmer weather.
Once spring gets here and the bloom is over, as myself being the fisheries biologist, I'll be out there. We'll sample the lake, we'll sample the fish population to see what effects that golden algae bloom had on it, how many fish we lost, and based on those findings, it'll give me an indication whether we need to stock more fish to kind of make up for any losses.
The golden algae typically impacts all gill-breathing animals, which is why at current levels, only smaller bait fish have been impacted. For Our Water, I'm Victor Glenn. For more Our Water stories, visit ConchoValleyHomepage.com/.
All right, thanks, Victor. And speaking of water, I've got Shannon McMillan here with the city of San Angelo, and we're going to talk all things water.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So first off, just introduce yourself to the people and tell us what you do with the city.
My name is Shannon McMillan, and I'm with the city's Stormwater Program. I'm the Stormwater Program Administrator, and essentially what we do is we ensure that our water quality is the best that it can be, and ensure that we meet compliance with state and federal regulations in regards to the stormwater permit that the city has.
Okay, so let's first talk about stormwater. What is stormwater?
Stormwater is essentially anything that when the rain falls from the sky and hits an impermeable surface runs off, that is essentially stormwater. Stormwater runs through many conveyance systems. Our road system is our largest conveyance. We also have a few underground drains, and then of course TxDOT has their underground drains. It's important to understand that that water is not treated, so as soon as it runs through that drain, it's running into a surface water body. And so that's the importance of ensuring that we keep a clean community so that that water that's going directly to the river or to our lakes or streams is as clean as possible to reduce impacts to wildlife, aquatic life, and our own lives.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some ways that we can keep our community clean? Because, you know, we've all been there. We've seen kind of the trash build up, and it builds up. You can see it in the water because the water pushes it, you know, together. So what are some of those ways that we can do better?
So since spring was coming up, we thought we would mention and be mindful for all the citizens to be a little bit more mindful about preparing their yards for spring. Fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides are huge pollutants. And so we would like to remind you to use those according to the label. It's like the old farmer adage of a little bit did wonderful, but more doesn't necessarily do even more wonderful. So it's important to follow the specifications listed on those pesticide labels. The second one is we all like to get out on a nice Saturday and wash our car and make sure it's clean. We really do recommend that you go to those commercial car washes, because they actually reuse that water and it doesn't run off. They treat it and they reuse the water, so there's no contaminants going down the curb and gutter. There's nothing preventing you from washing your car in your yard, but we would ask that you be mindful of the detergents that you're using and all of that. And then the second thing is, whenever you start preparing your yard and you're getting rid of all the grass clippings and all the leaves, we ask that you either mulch that or bag that up. It is a violation of code to blow those things into the curb and gutter, which a lot of people are not aware of that.
Yeah.
And we try and just remind people that that is a code violation. And if you do that, we'll ask you to sweep it back up in your yard. So either bag it or mulch it.
Yeah, definitely. And mulch has some benefits there as well.
Absolutely. There's lots of wonderful organic material in there that can actually serve a wonderful purpose for your lawn.
Yeah. So really, like you said, just being aware of those products that you buy and those products that you use. I feel like there are a lot of soaps and everything that are really going towards a more natural, just more natural ingredients.
Right. Anything that, even in camping, they have soaps that are safe for you to use for camping if you're washing yourself outside or in a stream or whatever. They are moving towards that. I think this is a wonderful day and age where people are more mindful of the environment and their impacts on that environment. And it makes this job a lot easier. But it's important to understand that when people think stormwater and they think stormwater pollution, they go to industrial facilities and corporations that may have a lot of toxic chemicals that they're dealing with. But really, the number one cause of pollution is non-source point, which is what everyday people do, not thinking about the impacts down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Because some of the things you mentioned, I didn't even realize that it had an effect.
Right.
So what are some of those, I guess maybe misconceptions? You talked about the factories and everything, but for the everyday folk, what can we learn?
So essentially it's just to be more mindful. Our trash bins are a major source of stormwater pollution because of the floatables, and we understand that sometimes things get thrown over, sometimes things get thrown over the truck and everything like that. But a lot of things that people don't think of are actually bagging your trash. When you bag your trash, it's got a minimal opportunity to get touched by the wind and flow everywhere. It's important that we keep our lids on our trash cans and dumpsters, because animals, wind, all those little things can go through there and create that pollution in our streets instead of where it needs to be. And secondly, another thing is pet waste. We don't think about the impacts and the little bacterias and all the things that pet waste have. It's important that you pick that up. In all of our parks, there are pet waste receptacles and bags. That's a new program that the Stormwater Department is doing, is a pet waste program that we hope to really launch it really well with PAWS and some of the other adoption agencies. But little things like that are important. Don't change your oil in the road and let the used oil drip out. You would be surprised that people wouldn't think that would create quite an issue, but it is, most definitely.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of interesting things. And like you said, if you kind of sit down and think about it, we love our pets, but we don't want to go swimming, in a lake where all their waste is,
You're exactly right. And so picking that up and throwing it away is the best option, which, like I said, we have a new program, and
y'all have some cool stuff.
Yeah, we have our new stormwater management program. We're required to re-up that every 5 years. Okay. And this year we're developing some new programs to really get out there and kind of spread our word with all sorts of groups of people so that everybody knows that they can play a role in preventing stormwater pollution. So number one, since we were going to the pet waste, is we have these little pet waste promotional little
They're
dog
so
bag
cute.
hangers,
Yeah.
and they have the bag with them. We'll be doling those out at some of our educational events and our programs, and we hope that everybody keeps them mindful of that.
And even if you don't have a pet, you could still use that to kind of pick up trash.
Yeah, absolutely. It will come with the bag, so
Yeah.
that's very nice. And it has a little carabiner so it can hang on whatever. Another portion of our program is also environmental, anything environmentally mindful. So waste is a huge issue, right? So we have ordered some of these reusable cutlery kits so that you don't have to fill up the landfill with your plastic forks and knives. They're dishwasher safe. They have our little Stormwater logo on it, and it says rethink your footprint.
Yeah.
And then finally, another one of our items is the reusable straws. We know they're very popular. These are silicone because they were compact. They come with a little keychain so you can put them in your purse or on your keychain. And that will reduce the amount of plastics that end up in our landfill.
Yeah.
And then another one of our programs that we're really excited about, and hopefully you'll get to visit with the new director, I think they just hired one a couple weeks ago, is the Keep San Angelo Beautiful program.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to play a huge role in that program to really get it jump started and really get some great events going on for San Angelo. I'm not from San Angelo originally, and I really feel like this is the most beautiful West Texas town I've ever seen in my life.
Hey!
I love it. And I'm so excited that program is going to be here because I think that will bring some really good ecotourism and some really great attributes to the city so that the rest of the state can understand and see what I see every day in this beautiful city.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm so excited for everything coming up and up ahead. Like you said, you've got educational programs. Is there a way for people to get involved, or do you have that schedule of those programs yet?
Well, we do them kind of on the fly. I think our first one is in the spring, and it will be for, we'll be working with ASU's Stormwater program. They have their own little permit. We do educational programs for anybody. You can always contact my office. I'm in the engineering services department. If you would like to schedule something, we love working with teachers. We love working with after school programs. Even I just recently did one for adults for the Realtor Association in regards to floodplain and stormwater regulation. So anything that you can think of, we're available for that. And we love getting out there to the public. That's one of the major components of our permit is education and outreach.
Definitely. Well, this is great. You've got a ton of cool giveaways, and like you say, it's just little things. If we make those little changes, it adds up in the end.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else? Any final words, final thoughts for the people?
If you see a stormwater violation or you have a stormwater question, we have a hotline or an anonymous email. So our hotline is 325-486-3780. And our stormwater email is stormwater@cosatx.us.
Gotcha. Yeah, so they can get that information to you and ask questions or
visit
report
the
somebody.
website. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. I learned a lot. I'm sure everyone else learned a lot. If you have other questions, you can definitely contact Shannon and get those maybe more educational programs going, partnerships. Awesome. Well, thank you again, and thank you all for joining us for CVHP News. Don't forget to follow us on social media and download our free app. All you got to do is search Concho Valley Homepage in your app store. That's all for right now, but hey, we're going to see you next week. Have a great day.